Did you hear that? It's cheering coming from the Department of Transportation. Secretary Emily Timmons just let her staff know that Superior has been given approval to build a new interstate highway between Duluth and Nicolet Bay, running straight through Clearwater County. And this is a big deal. The project is going to create jobs, spur growth, improve access to the area, and for some businesses, literally put Clearwater County on the map. So let's talk about why the interstate is so important. According to the ever-humble Federal Highway Administration, the interstate highway system is the greatest public works project in history. It's a system of controlled access highways that extend throughout the mainland US and also has routes in Alaska, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico. And there are a few stated purposes for this system, including to improve safety of regional travel, improve speeds of regional travel, to facilitate growth, economic development, and national defense. You might be surprised to hear the defense part of the interstate highway system, but this was created during the time of Dwight Eisenhower, and if you understand his background, it makes some sense. As a young Army officer, Dwight Eisenhower was tasked with participating in a convoy across the U.S. on the Lincoln Highway, which was the first intercontinental highway in the U.S. It spanned over 3,000 miles or 5,000 kilometers and took 2 months to complete. During World War II, as a Supreme Commander of Allied forces, Eisenhower observed the precursor to the modern Autobahn in Germany, and it left a positive impression on him. As president in 1954, Eisenhower asked General Lucius Clay, aka the Great Uncompromiser due to his stubbornness, with chairing a committee that would create a plan for a nationwide controlled access highway system. Clay's committee came up with a 10-year, $100 billion plan that would create 40,000 miles of interstate or 64,000 kilometers of divided controlled access highways, linking all cities in the US with 50,000 population or more. Eisenhower wanted the system to be completely tolled, but lost that argument after the Uncompromiser convinced him it wasn't feasible outside of highly populated coastal regions. In 1955, President Eisenhower sent Clay's proposal to Congress, and it was quickly approved in the Senate, but in the House was overwhelmingly voted down due to its funding mechanism. A group of senators, headlined by Albert Gore Sr., yes, the father of that Al Gore, modified the funding mechanism and changed it from public bonds to the Highway Trust Fund, which funds a system primarily with taxes on gas and diesel fuel. And a bit of a sidebar, today the taxes that are collected aren't high enough to fund the system since the taxes weren't indexed to inflation. So the fund is actually insolvent without huge transfers of general revenue to the fund. So the next time someone tells you that vehicles aren't subsidized, let them know that they are wrong. And though President Eisenhower preferred the plan authored by the nonpartisan officials, in 1956, he signed the amended Federal Aid Highway Act into law, which enabled the creation of what is now known as the Dwight D. Eisenhower National System of Interstate and Defense Highways, better known as the Interstate Highway System. The original law created basic standards for the interstate highway system, including that they were to be funded with 90% federal funds, have at least 4 lanes, and have no at-grade crossings. These standards have been further refined over the years, with the most notable additions being minimum lane widths, minimum median widths, minimum design speeds, interchange spacing, and maximum grades. And at the time that the bill was signed into law, there were many highways and roads that were either constructed, under construction, or planned that were grandfathered into the system. One of the most notable examples is the bridge that was completed in 1957 that links what is now Superior to the state of Michigan. It's also important to know that the original plan for the interstate highway system has been modified a number of times due to local opposition and to add new routes. In today's episode, we're going to be creating one of those new routes, Interstate 98, an even-numbered route since it runs east-west. The route's going to link I-35 in Duluth to I-75 in Evergreen and Couillard Shores. And to do this, we're going to be enhancing the existing U.S. highway that goes through the county to interstate standards. And this will be a highly invasive project requiring numerous right-of-way vacations, access removals and consolidations, and a healthy bit of eminent domain. So strap in, we're going to be doing a lot. And if you learned something about the interstate highway system, hit the like button. And if you already knew everything I said, hit the like button for that too, and let me know what your favorite stretch of highway is. Or if you prefer, just drop an emoji that represents highways for the sake of engagement. And after the longest intro I've ever had in a video, let's jump right in. Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building Clearwater County, and it feels great to be back here. We've got a good one today. We're going to be taking this highway system you see right here, and we're going to be replacing it with an interstate. And that means that we're going to need to upgrade this entire system to have 4 lanes. We're going to need to add some new interchanges and improve the existing ones. And we're going to need to think about access to communities that are not on the interstate, like Belmont. So this might feel like we're going back in time, and in a sense we are. As you might recall, this map originally came with a highway system, and I removed it in place of this 2-lane highway that we've improved in some parts of the community. And the reason for that is it felt really unnatural to me to build around an interstate rather than the interstate being built because of the community. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on today, improving the highway system around the community's driving the need for the highway and not the opposite way around. Now for this entire build, I'm going to pause this as minimally as possible. So we're going to try to build around that a little bit. And I think that that's going to lead to a more natural development pattern. Now, here's the thing. I can't completely leave this unpaused. There are going to be a couple of cases where I would probably destroy the entire community if I did that, but that will be my goal to do that as much as possible. So we're going to need to turn our contours on, and we're going to be using the network multi-tool extensively throughout this entire build. So this next down to 2 lanes, and that's just not going to work. And I know offhand that I cannot upgrade this. So we'll go into our highways. We're going to be using our North American freeways for most of this, and we'll send this off here. Now, one of the things I want to consider is going to be the width of the median. The median width has to be at least 50 feet or 15 meters. 60 feet is probably preferable. Let's see what that looks like. So that right there is about 50 feet in the median. So I'm going to draw what I believe is pretty close to that. All right, so now we have an entryway in to the community and a way out. It's about 50 feet in between, and we can keep this moving. Now, to really do this right, what we're going to need to do is really think about the side of the road that we're building the new road on. And we're going to need to switch in a couple of places here. We're going to use the create parallel mode extensively through here. So let's grab this. And on this side, we want to switch to the other side of the road. Now, I know from a bit of fiddling around that 30 meters is about where we need to be if we want to maintain about a 50-foot median. And then on this side, we're going to bop around to the other side. So we'll go right here. And then we have our existing roadway, and I'm pretty sure that this is not the right width. Now I'm measuring from the edge of the pavement to the edge of the pavement, and yeah, that's 35. So that's not good enough. We are going to need to improve this. And then for the time being, I'm going to make this bidirectional. And now I can delete this without any problems. And this is the kind of thing that you would expect to see in a highway project. They would actually have a phasing plan, multiple phases for every part of the project. So I am going to get the directionality right on this. And then there would be a setback from the highway. So I've moved everything here, and I basically wanted to try to keep it about maybe, I don't know, 100 feet back from the highway. I don't know that this is the right distance, and this is, yeah, it's about 100. I don't know that it's the right distance, but it seems to be an appropriate distance. I'm sure that there's a standard for this, and if I figure out what it is, I will let you guys know. Now, we need to make some connections here, and here's how we're going to do it. We're going to go in the network multi-tool again. We'll use the create connection mode. Select the roads that you want to connect. There we go. We can increase the radii, which will give us a more gentle curve if that's what we want. I'll do the exact same thing here. And there we go. And now here is where we have not exactly the height of realism. We are going to pause for a moment, delete this. So now we will parallel this once again. There's also just a ton of nodes in a couple of these locations. It looks like there might be some funky overlapping. And now these aren't connected, so we're going to use our union node mode. And now those aren't quite perfect, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. I planned on going through and using our arrange at line mode anyway to clean this up. And as long as we're using the same nodes on either road, they will parallel perfectly. And now we can come through here and think about the directionality and get that correct so that we can run this thing again. Okay, so I had to go through and upgrade all of this. So I'll get rid of our little crossover there, and we should be good to go. We also need to look at our slopes through here, and I think the maximum we want through here is 5. It's 6% in the mountains, 5 in rolling hills, and in flat terrain, 4. And this is super extra. This is just me being crazy. So there we go. The one thing I've been considering, and I'm going to add one now, and I might add more off camera later, is I thought it might be nice to have emergency management crossings, and then using TMPE, I would just go through and restrict who has access to this road, and I will ban all vehicles, but then enable it for emergency management. And now this is a very useful road. In fact, the other thing you would see on here are plows. So they're almost a necessity in areas like this. That said, we'll just do one for now. Maybe we'll add some more later if we have time, but I think it's looking pretty darn good. Now over here, we have some more issues. I'm going to just pull this down, the height of realism. And then we're looking pretty good throughout the rest of this. And now through here, my guess is that this would be grandfathered in, that the FHWA, the Federal Highway Administration, would look at this and they go, wow, it's pretty close. It's probably not worth the expense of redoing it. That said, we are going to see a change in this area, and that is really due to design speed. I don't think that this would be a 70-mile-per-hour design speed due to the radii here. It's very sharp. So we are going to soften this a bit. So we're going to use our arrange at line mode to accomplish this. We're going to come through here and we're going to blast through the hillside a little bit. And then right here, we do the exact same thing on the other side. Now, one of the fun things about the create parallel road tool is sometimes you'll end up with zoning on highways. You just have to go through and upgrade it and it goes away. And then I also want to get rid of things like this. Either we add water to this or we get rid of it because there would be ponding here. All right, it's still a bit pinched over here. I'm going to see if there's anything I can do to fix this. It's a little bit better. And now you're going to notice that there are a couple of spots like this where the marking is gone. That's a node controller thing. So we're just going to go through and delete the node there. It had a custom node, and as a result, it was kind of messy. So now it is fixed. Over here, we have an interchange that is substandard. The queuing distances wouldn't be long enough. We could remove this, and the Federal Highway Administration may prefer that, but I think that we're going to say that they're okay with this one. We're just going to leave it there. Now, this is another interesting one. We've got a node here. This is clearly a middle when it shouldn't be. We'll delete that node, square this up. That was the issue over here. There we go. So that's looking much, much, much better. Now, we have to increase our width through here. This is not going to work for us. So we are going to, again, make this bidirectional. The issue that we're going to have here is that we almost need this to be the median where the road is. We are going to use the create parallel tool, and we're going to do something a little bit weird. I'm going to grab a rural road, and then I'm going to create parallel through here. And we're going to set this to 15 meters, and we're going to do both sides. So the reason why I wanted to use a road that's totally different is we are going to end up deleting this road. What we'll do is add those there, and then down here I'm going to do the same thing. So now that we've got those attached, we'll get rid of these and these, and we can just start to delete this. Now the easiest way to do this would be inside of Move It. Pop into Move It, use your marquee selection, turn picker on, add this picker tool here, select this. That's now the only thing that you can select, and as long as you have nothing else in the area like this, look at that, I selected all of those, used the delete button, and we are good to go. So now we're using this new roadway exclusively. This new broken roadway. And I'm not going to worry about cleaning that up considering we're going to be replacing it anyway. Let's start upgrading this and getting this right. I'm going to stop at the service station because we've got some work to do there. And you can see that we're creating another problem. We actually are creating new roads right through our power lines. And I know that these power lines are exceptionally important, and we will get that fixed in just a second. And now we're over here. We're at the service station. The service station is disconnected. It's still functioning. I guess this little nubbin right here is good enough for it. I don't think they would be happy with that in reality. Now, I want to use some of Max FX's assets because they're some of the very best interchanges on the Steam Workshop. So the one that I want to use here is going to be a service interchange. A service interchange being an interchange that links a highway system to the local roadway network. And I think that the one that's going to fit the best here is right here, this Parklow. And we can spin this around and bend this to our will. And the reason I like this one, it just fits well right here. We've got to use some eminent domain for sure, but we're not taking out our service center. So let's just give ourselves a clean building pad and get rid of everything that's in our way. So you see I'm snapped to that local roadway network. We will use our create connection mode, select these two connections, and now we have the ability to adjust these a bit. And now we can bring it around the service station. That is a nice connection. And then we'll just parallel that. And then we just union these nodes. And that one already made the connection, so we're good to go there. There we go. That is tight. I will not lie, but it's going to do the trick for us. And now we can come through here and clean all of this up. We just took out that house, and that's okay. We needed to. And right here, we got a bunch of decals we got to remove. And there's also a power line here. We're going to get rid of this. And we've been on pause for a minute, but we have basically had to do this. This house is also, we're going to need to use some eminent domain on that. And this road right here, we're going to not let this go quite as far back. We need this road. This is going to be an important local connection. We're going to maintain that. So we'll select this and this. And the nice thing is this allows us to adjust this connection to back it away from our ramps here. And I also want to improve this curve. We've already removed the house, so why not fix the curve? And that'll back us away from this a little bit more, which is always a good thing as well. Now we need to make this connection here. And I really want to get the game resumed again, so we're going to try to do this as quickly as we can. So I'm going to grab a ramp here, and I just want to make a connection. And then I want to turn this in. So we'll use our arrange at line mode and pull this all the way to over here. There we go. And now we're going to upgrade this right off the bat to be the right kind of bridge. And then I've given a lot of thought to all of these ramps. So we are really focusing on having acceleration and deceleration lanes. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Reasonably, that's a fairly low cost treatment. And we're giving ourselves enough space on the highway to be able to add those in the future. That's why you want the median space, so that you can make improvements down the line, add a lane, add things that could come up. All right, now we're going to parallel this, and there we go. Now it's important to remember that the reason that we had these here is that our DDI was here in the past, but oftentimes during highway projects, you'll see things like bridges going over highways getting replaced as well. And in some cases, you'll even see that bridges won't be replaced until the highway improvements are made. So that's the way that we're going to handle this. We're going to also make this connection here. And for this one, we're going to be pretty crude about it. We're just going to use our picker for this, connect that over here, and then we'll use our arrange at line mode to make a nice clean connection. And actually, I don't like this. We've got to go back to the drawing board. And this is the issue. We were overlapping there. So I'm going to get rid of all of those roads. And then we're going to go back in and use our create connection mode. And there's not a lot that we can do, but that little bit right there kept us where we need to be. So we're away from this facility. Almost wish that we had done more, so we are going to try. There we go. That's not the height of realism, but it will work for us. And there we go. Not bad at all. And then there's one major thing that we haven't done yet, and that is connect up our gas station. So we're going to need to do that and soften this turn a little bit now that this is a more prominent roadway. So we're going to soften this. We'll go into our arrange at line mode. And now we can add in our roadway here. Obviously, the easiest way to handle this building would be simply to just turn it around. That would be the easy way, but we're gonna do better. I'm gonna grab one of these 2-lane country road, and I'm gonna run this along the side. And now we've got to make that little road disconnected sign go away. It'll drive me crazy. I'm gonna drop this invisible road right here, and then I'm gonna move this in the front. So now this is happy. And then we're going to go into this building and look at our building spawn points, slide this over and turn it so that folks load onto the road. And then we've got this other issue. It's right here on the highway. So I want to delete a bit of this pavement. And that looks pretty janky. So we are going to need to do something to make this look a little bit better. So we'll just come through here and use our new line tool. And there we go. Serves two purposes, blocks the lights from the highway and makes us look a lot less janky. We're good to go. Now the power is the final thing that we need to do to get the build running again. This power line connects our solar plant to the rest of the region. This is really the main distribution line for the entire county. And then we also have a whole bunch of local rural lines back here as well. Now this would be a very expensive and controversial part of this project. So that should get us all connected up. And it looks good, even though it feels like it shouldn't be. So maybe this is a situation where you just kind of accept the win, even if you don't think you should get it. Now, there are other little things that we need to worry about. Little things like this bridge right here. Maybe it's not such a little thing. That is our connection over currently to Belmont. So we're going to need to improve that. We're going to add in a highway. And then I want to stop a truck underneath here to figure out the height. Obviously, this is not good enough. So we'll raise this up, grab this other side, Control H this, and now we can grab this, force this to ground level, and make these connections. Now I'm going with a 2-lane road because I think that this is overbuilt at this point in time. And if it were being rebuilt, there would just not be a justification to have all of these lanes here. This is not going to be a primary route. I'm going to turn off collision here so that we don't destroy our bike bridge. And then we'll go ahead and slope this as well. And that raises things up. So we are going to need to adjust our bridge at some point down the line. I'm moving this cell tower because again, that's too close to the side of the road. Now we've got to adjust our bridge here. So we're going to go in and move it. The height of realism, it's in your way. You just pop it up. No big deal. And I'm going to add another node right here so we can mirror these heights at the top of the road here. And then we can slope from here. Now, again, this might be surprising to see me making improvements to the bike network as part of a highway project. At least in my state, it is an expectation that when you have a project with this much spending attached to it, you enhance all modes of transportation, not just vehicular transportation. So that's one of the reasons that we're doing this. Now we should be able to resume things once again. So we are going to give it a go. After I smooth some things out, we will leave this area as well. Oh, and we are looking good here. So I want to just make sure that we're in a good place with everything that we just built. I want to go through and check our slopes. And there's one spot in particular that I think we maybe have missed. So we're going to come in, we'll grab our slope terrain, set slope mode. And this is the spot that I'm a little concerned about. So I think that if we want to maintain the correct slopes, we want to look at about, 5%. And we've got 7, 8, not so good. But we come through and we get to here and we have that at 4.3. So that is acceptable for interstate standards. We're going to do that on this side. And you can tell already that this is way too much. And it looks really, really good now. The rest of this should be pretty good. So we're going to move along because I think that we've got some really challenging stuff to work with in just a moment. So right here, we're going to grandfather this trumpet in, not overly concerned about this. Then we'll keep moving along here. This is a bit closer than we would prefer it to be, but I think it's going to be fine. And then once we get over here, we're in a pretty good place. Again, this is a new interchange. So here's where things start to get dicey. I think we need to be able to divert traffic through Van Buren because we're going to need to close all of this down. We've got a lot of work to do here anyway. So I'm going to come over here and we're going to fix this side of the highway. We need to change our entryway into the city. There we go. What we're going to need to do is I guess on this side of the hill, we're going to place our new road. I could use the parallel road tool for this and that would work just fine, but I don't love the slopes through here. So I think we might actually do something inspired by my road trip, which is we're going to see this grade and we're going to maintain this road as is. We'll fix the slopes where we need to. But then as we come through here, we're going to go ahead and add a new road that follows the nicer terrain, the nicer slopes, the fewer grades, much cheaper road to build. All of this would be fairly inexpensive because what we're looking at is a bunch of land that's unimproved. So I'm going to run a new parallel facility and we'll add that right here. But rather than continuing to parallel this, we're gonna pop out of this tool and draw in our own new road. We're just gonna follow this contour line down here. It's perfect. That is perfect. So we need to just look at our slopes here, and we're a little above 6. Now we're at 5.2, and we should be able to pull this all the way through. I don't think we're gonna see much. Oh, we have 9 right there. So this section right here is likely a bridge segment. That's another takeaway from my road trip that I'm gonna fall back on. We'll have a nice bridge right there. So now that this is all set up, we're gonna leave this for the time being. I'll make this connection. We'll say that there are some barrels preventing people from barreling through here. And we'll leave this as is for now. I want to do something different here, so I've deleted this little chunk of highway. And what we're gonna do is add a system interchange here. And we've got a number of options to choose from. I think we're gonna go with something like a small cloverleaf or something of that nature. A really compact system interchange. And the reason for that is we have an opportunity to provide a little bit more utility to this area, open up this land for development, and this would be the time to get this built. So what we're gonna do is realign this highway and have it come all the way through here and meet up right about here. It's a really short bridge crossing, and this will go all the way to Van Buren. The other bit of benefit that we get doing this is that we are going to be able to completely sever connectivity through here, because we're also going to add another local highway through this area so that we're not forcing all the local traffic onto the interstate. So we're going to add this new interchange right about here. There we go. And I've had some weird clipping things happening. It's because we were actually clipping onto this interchange over here. We are not going to have this anymore. Now this interchange was basically one of the vanilla interchanges. I modified it slightly to work, knowing that in the future we would do something about it. Now we're going to make a connection through here, but again, we've got to figure out what's happening with this highway. What I know is happening is this is gone. This will be 1/2 of our highway, but truthfully, I meant to, and I probably should have built this cloverleaf before severing this. Now that I didn't do that, we're going to need to keep this paused. And the thing to remember is, again, this is the interstate. So we have to maintain 2 through lanes minimum. And there's 3 lanes here. I think inside of the cloverleaf, we're going to follow lane mathematics to a T. So we'll go with 3 lanes here so that if someone needs to loop around for whatever reason, they could. We'll do the exact same thing up top. And then we will neck this down to 2 lanes. And again, I know the lane math is off through here. It is correct where I think it matters, and that's straight through the center. Everything else is kind of a bonus if we get it right. I don't think it's going to impact the performance at all. And I wouldn't build the extra lanes just to build them. That's a waste of money. And I have been going through off camera and fixing some of the lane marking. I might finish the rest of this in a stream. So rather than going through and trying to do all that right now, we'll just hold off on that for later. So now that we have this, we do need to start thinking about our connections into both this existing highway and then our old one. I'm going to focus on this one first. And what we're going to do is snag this old 4-way highway. And I'm just going to follow the terrain and send it back out this way. And then we'll go ahead and connect these up using our create connection mode. Once there, make this bigger so we have a nice radii. Same thing here, hit enter, and we are good to go. I am going to take this down to 2 lanes. We don't need to overbuild our roads. And then we will add our connection here. And lastly, we need to TMPE this Control S so we stay in our lanes. Do we actually need all of these lanes? Maybe that's an appropriate question to ask ourselves. And I'm going to say no. This is not an interstate, so we don't need to maintain the 4 lanes. So I'm going to take this down here, and we will have proper lane mathematics through the interchange. And then we're going to drop it down to 1 lane in each direction here because I want to have a bi-directional highway with passing. Just connect this up right here so we can try to find our middle. There we go. And now I want to connect this up over here. I'm going to begin on this side. We'll pull this over to here, and then we'll bump this up. And I forgot, can't have passing on a bridge. There you go. We're going to send this to be fairly straight, and then we will add in few stretches along here. And then again, we are going to create a connection. All right, so a little bit of fiddling here, but now we've got this going. And with that, we should be able to get this build moving again. And now we can focus on this junction over here. So basically, I want to blow all of this up. This is going to be a temporary junction. We're going to get rid of our Otter Lake connection. That's also our Johnson Aggregates connection. And we are going to add a new one heading down here. A couple of reasons for that. Right now, going up to our fort up here, we've got this dirt road that connects up to our future interstate. That's no good. So we are going to add this new connection through here, add all of our snap twos back on, and then try to respect our topography a bit. And now we will get rid of this dirt road coming down here. All right, that is considerably better. This will carry quite a bit of traffic. This is not ideal. I'm going to add a new connection. Very difficult to get connections at the railroad, but we're gonna play dumb on that one, and we'll add a new connection. Feeling very good about this. This is going to be a future interchange, but we're going to cross that bridge when we get there, literally. So for the time being, I want to come back over here, and we need a system interchange right here. So we've got this one. This is good, but we need one more right here because this is a highway. I'm inclined to go with this pair interchange. I think that it's going to fit well here. So I'm going to get rid of this. And now that we have a clean slate, I think that we need to pre-grade this. Now we'll add our interchange through here. We're not shifting over the location of our junction. We're going to fix that bridge. We're going to bend this interchange to our will. What we need to do first is make our connection here. And now we can parallel this no problem. So I'm going to grab small chunks, pull it on this way. And now on this side, I want to do a couple of things. Too many lanes once again. So we're going to take this down to 2 lanes here. And then through here, you see it's kind of jagged and weird looking. I'm just squaring up the ends and it just makes it look a ton better. The other thing I'm noticing is that the original interchange was using vanilla roads. So right here, for instance, I have a vanilla road joining up with our North American freeways. I just need to go through and upgrade this. Otherwise, things are going to be a little bit off in a couple of different locations. And that actually makes me wonder, did I do that over here? Okay, so now you can see it just looks a lot nicer. Let's go ahead and join this up here, and then we Control S to make this perfect. So we already see some freight traffic coming through using this road instead of that little local highway that we have over here. Makes some sense. Now we need to make our connections here. So there we go. That is how we will get across here. I am going to upgrade this to be a bridge, and then we'll slope this. Actually, before we slope this, we'll raise the bridge up just slightly, and then we'll slope from there. The main thought being we don't want the bridge to ever flood. And now I want to parallel this, and we're going to start from this node right here, and we're going to run that basically up the hill through here, and we're going to stop it right about here. I don't know. We might even need to delete some of this because we're going to add another interchange right here, a service interchange going to both Otter Lake and Van Buren. And this looks janky. The reason it looks janky is it's a bridge all the way across. That was a mistake. Let's rectify that. All right, so we got that fixed and we're running up here. I'm not going to get overly crazy about directionality or anything. Actually, we'll fix directionality. We're not going to worry about the slopes right now, though, because we are going to need to reconfigure this area And what we're going to do here is just cut this off. We've got a couple of things going on. We've got that median here. Now we're going to build an interchange, and I think we're going to go again for our trusty parklow. Big reason for this is it's not going to take up too much space on that side. Editor Phil here, and there's a lot of regret right here. This is where I should have placed this. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the perfect location. This was it. But then I second guessed myself and I placed it here. This is the wrong place. I'm encroaching upon the river, and I'm going to have to make a bunch of changes later on in the video to make this look okay. I may go back and fix this one off camera. This is one of my biggest regrets in the entire series, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm pausing it because we just severed the power lines. This looks absolutely insane, but we're going to make it look a little bit better. Wow. Okay, to begin, I'm going to delete this. And again, we will connect up. Oh boy. That might be my favorite thing I've seen today. We'll get rid of that. And now we're connected up. Very good. Back into our old roadway network. We'll just join that up, and then we'll start our angle here. And we're going to start it way back here. So we'll click this. That's our first junction, our second one here. And then I want to move this way out there. And you can see that that angle is just considerably better. You can start to see what we're going for. Maybe this isn't the easiest way of doing it, but it's my favorite way of doing it. So now we've just got to fix this, just minor things. And what we'll do is connect this up here. I think this is the right side. It's not. So you can see that if we were connected up this way, we're carving into the hillside. So we have another shift. So we're shifting that there. I'm going to resume the power. After I get this power fixed, I'm going to resume this once again. And always, when you're dealing with power, just double check. It doesn't take that long, and you save yourself a lot of grief. We're looking good everywhere except for here, interestingly. So that is exactly why you double check. There's a disconnect somewhere. And what I think we're seeing, it's right here. So what we're seeing is that our solar plant is not connected. So all of this is running from that old coal power plant because of one little thing that we did over here. So that will tank our population if we don't resolve it. And now we should be good to go. And there we go. Back to our ramp over here, and crazy times. Let's focus on this road, this through road. This is one that we know where the heights should be. And now that's about right. So between this right here and this, it should be a fairly comfortable slope. You can see it's pulling way down. We'll just pull that way up. Whoa, we are way out there. So that's going to have to be a bridge. That's unfortunate. That's not what I was hoping to do. I went maybe a little further over than I meant to. So we will live with that. It'll be fine. It's just not ideal. And there we go. We've got a lot of work to do to make this look a little bit better, but that is the start of where we need to go. And boy, oh boy, this is certainly not going to be the height of realism right here, but we're going to live with a bit of imperfection, or at least try to do something. Yeah, that's terrible. That is terrible. I might take some liberties here. And the liberties, just to make this look a little more plausible, we are going to ground level this, and I'm going to do something that is, it's going to be controversial. And it should be controversial. You should yell at me for this. We're going to slope this over, carve into the hillside, and we are going to ruin some of Eggsy's handiwork right here. And then right here, we'll just bump this right up, make our own terrain, and then we'll upgrade that to a highway segment. That is really a steep embankment. We're going to want something to protect ourselves along here as well. Because if you fall off here, you aren't having a good day. You might not be having a good life. So we are going to now get rid of the trees along here. There we go. All right, I'm going to stop fiddling with this because we've got more important things to do. Let's create a parallel road here again. And over here, we're going to need to do the exact same treatment that we did on the other side. So anarchy on, we will connect these up and then just pull this right on over. Looking much better. Well, it's looking better. It's not looking much better. Let's not lie to ourselves. It is still very, very rough. All right, so I've taken the liberty to go through here and just upgrade everything, get it to the right direction so we are good. We can resume this. It's all about our heights now and making sure that little imperfections like this are not present. So we're in a pretty good place. We've just got to fix these heights. So let's first start out here. And I'm wondering, maybe the best thing to do is to actually go through and set one side. Get one side perfectly correct. So we'll start through here, 18%, we'll take that to 5. And as we pull this on down, we should temper this out quite a bit. So now we're at 3. So I think that we'll do the same thing on this side. Now we're at 3 over here as well. Now through here, we've got to make this one more improvement, all highway segments, and then we will again set our slopes. All right, so now that we've got this portion done, we're going to go through here. And again, this I think will keep to a maximum of a 6% grade because this is kind of mountainous terrain. We're looking pretty good there. We will go just a bit further, probably a bit further than we should have. And we're in between 2 and 4 there. This is perfect right here. There's not much that we could do better. This is going to be our most challenging spot through here, so let's just take a look at what we have. Yeah, 14, 19, we got a blast. So we're going to hit that 7 still. Let's go a bit further this direction. 5. This is technically acceptable, but I'm concerned that down here, we pop up again. So there we go. That should resolve our issues there, but we've got to do a bit of work. What I think we're going to do is we're going to grab this and pop this up as a bridge. Yeah, that should do the trick for us. So there we go. So now this is all connected. This is going to look weird at certain load levels. So I don't want to flatten this out and make it look crazy, but I do want to widen this away from the road. We'll grab the height here and then we'll grab it down here and just slope up towards it. And we'll leave that just like that. And then I'm going to grab our brush, back this away. So there we go. Again, the detail, I mentioned that it would be really nice to have guardrails and things like that. I think that's a bit beyond the scope of what we're going to do today. So we'll leave that for now. We've got one more thing to accomplish, and that is we've got to make a connection to Belmont. And I want to talk about my idea here. So basically, we've got our landfill right here. We need direct interstate access to that. And then I want to remove this. We're not going to have that direct access onto this US highway. This is way too dangerous. We're going to take this road and bend it this way. Send it across here and then dip this around down and run that around the front. So that is going to be our game plan. Let's go ahead. We're going to use one of our North American freeways. And I think we could actually start right here. It'll be the easiest spot for us to begin. And as we do this, we also sever connectivity. I don't want a crossing right before the bridge, which is why we got rid of that one. And then we're trying to keep this as straight as possible. We're going to go into our create connections mode, add this here, switch the ends. And honestly, I'm good with that just as it was added. And then here, this is no good, so we'll get rid of this road. And then this, we're going to turn this into a dirt road. I don't want to relinquish the right of way, and I don't think in a million years you'd see that. So we'll just go ahead and convert this to be a dirt road. And then right up here, we're going to do something special. I want it to look like it's connected, but I don't want it to be connected. So we're going to add a node right about here so that we can delete a mini little roadway segment right there. And then we'll take this, pull it right nice and close, Control H that down, Alt this, to be a nice angle. And then we'll even slope this. All right, so that is good. We didn't have to sever connectivity. We've just reserved this right away. In the future, if we want to do something with this road, at least we haven't removed the option to do it. And that was the main purpose of this. We could do the same thing over here as well if we wanted to, just so it looks a little bit better. And I think that we might. There we go. So it looks like we've kept that right of way. Now, again, this is a US highway, so we don't want the slopes to be too extreme. I'd love to consolidate some access through here. So I'm going to basically get rid of every other one of these. And then we'll hold down Alt to pull this right up. We're just cul-de-sacking these. And I'm sure that makes the owners of these parcels very unhappy. Rightfully so, truthfully. Losing access can devalue a property. And in this case, we've actually severed two. So not ideal for that property owner. Here we need to get this onto this alignment over yonder. And you see that this is a new field. I have started to go through and add fields off camera. These are some of the network fields, and I feel that it is important that we start to finish out the countryside. So that'll be something I attempt to do more and more from here on out. Make that a nice gentle curve there, and we'll sever this connection. There we go. We're maintaining some of the grid here, but not all of it. Now this is an important road. And this is going to be a very tricky junction that people complain about because this is our old main road into Belmont. So we're going to maintain that. That's an important facility. So to make this work, we are going to add in another road right here. And then we'll go into TMPE. And basically what I want to do is ensure that if you're making this right here, you're only making a right. So I don't want people to come through here and make a left. That's not the point. So we'll TMPE this, Control S, and then Control S, stay in your lane in either direction. Same thing here. And it's confused about this one. And then basically I want to prevent this movement. That's the one that I don't want. So there we go. So that should do the trick for us. We can get upgrading once again. And right past the dump, we have State Highway, and boy, oh boy, this network field is going to be the end of me. I'm going to get rid of it. As much as I hate to do this, we're going to need to do that after the fact. So maybe I need to cool it a bit on the network fields, and we can do a little bit more with some of our actual farm fields. Here, I'm going to bump this out. We'll go 4 lanes here. So we're just lining up with what we have over here, which should benefit us. We get dedicated turn lanes then, so that'll be helpful. And now we need to cross the river. So here's where we change our directionality. I'm going to upgrade this, and we're going to connect these two right here. There we go. So we've got this highway just bumping up a little ways over here. And to get over here, I think we're going to kind of follow the power line. So we'll cross over right here on a bridge. And then let's come back over here and start to consider how we're handling this. And what I think we're going to do is we're going to delete this and this. So now we have this nice gentle turn through here. And I want to connect this up with a fairly straight road. And I think this is going to be brand new. We're going to eliminate most everything through here. So with Anarchy on, I'm just adding this new facility. All right, I don't like what's happening on this end. We are turning way too sharply, so I'm going to back this out a little ways, and we'll try our create connection mode again. And the main thing is I just want this to be a gentle turn. So if we've got to loop back around, that's not like this. If I just really want to get rid of that loop-de-loo. I don't really understand why it wants to do the loop-de-loo. But the way that I'm going to handle it is just to get rid of a part of this. Not the most efficient way. We're just going to do it that way anyway. And now we've got a whole bunch of legacy road to disband. We can make a couple of connections through here, no problem. We'll even straighten this out. And then basically everything on this side of the river is all disjointed at this point. all of that right of way will be relinquished and things are looking much smoother. And you can see that these new roads are already being taken as the primary motorways in this area. So I just want to make sure that we're not seeing anything crazy through here and that the slopes are good. I think it's looking really good. We have a signal here that's completely fine and probably necessary with the amount of traffic we'd see through here. This is good. All the way through here is good. I think that we've done a good job. Where this leaves us is needing to take a look at our traffic flow. And we're at 78%, but I know that there's a couple of oddities that I want to resolve as well. This is one of them. So I was seeing this earlier and I'm thinking, I think that it's this area. This is the problem. We've got some overlapping here. So I'm going to set this back and you can see what that did. I just took the lights from being in the middle of the train track and now they're behind it. And then I'll move this here as well to cross the road, and that immediately got our trains moving. And I think that was the primary issue here. This might be another one. You see it, the plume of people just popped out. It's as if the train decided to drop them off in the middle of the road because they were struggling, or because people can't cross. Oh, that's what it is. There are bikers that want to cross here, but the trains are blocking them. So that is, look at that crazy traffic. All right, between our new highways and the clearing of this backup, I think we're going to see traffic do some beautiful things. So what we're going to do is pop into our traffic view and let this simulate for just a couple of minutes, and we'll see how things improve over time. All right, after letting this run for a little while, we are solidly at 80% traffic flow, which is quite an improvement from the 76% that we started out at. Now, I know traffic flow is an imperfect measure. I kind of hate it. We're at 79 right now. What does that really matter? What is 79 versus 80? But 80 feels like a good balance between ensuring that vehicular traffic is moving and not over prioritizing it. That's the thing about despawning that I don't like. When you turn despawning off, you end up prioritizing wonky solutions that really focus on the game as a puzzle, which is fine, but I think you end up really restricting movements outside of vehicular movements. So I would rather there be delay. I would rather there be despawning because the game doesn't know how to handle the delay. Than attempting to get the traffic flow to 90% with despawning off. So that's why we are going to be a little okay with some delay and some backups. So this isn't too bad. What we're seeing is that in certain spots, you gotta wait. You gotta wait for a stoplight. That's fine. The traffic is heavy along the interstate in a couple of spots. That's okay. The weaving is happening in a couple of spots in kind of an uncomfortable manner. That happens. This is life. This is the way highways actually function. They're not always perfect. And that's what we're seeing as we go through here. For the most part, it's functioning very, very well. Traffic is moving, even if it's heavy. So I think that we really need to take a look at what we've done. Oh, this is part of our traffic flow problem, I'm sure. Let's get this fixed. So I've got this all upgraded. I've removed that little strip back here and traffic is flowing beautifully down here. I think that we need to take inventory of what we've done and have a brief city tour with a ride on our highway. So I think that this is where we are going to leave it. This has been a big one, but it's been an important one. And I think the entire region is in a better place for it. I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I really can't wait to see you in the next one. Thank you so much for the privilege of your time today. It has been an absolute joy and it's an honor. Take care. Bye-bye.